Hey guys, this is a draw of my life by me, and I made this because some of you guys basically wanted to know about my life. So here we go. My name is Benjamin Moser, and I was born on July 14th, 2004. And I was raised in Malvern, Ohio, my hometown. You see, everybody calls me Ben, but my name is actually Benjamin. But they all just call me Ben just for short, as a nickname. Now, I do not have a little brother or a little sister. I am the youngest sibling. Okay, so my mom told me this a while ago. As soon as when I was born, my brother and my sister thought I was not me. You see, my sister thought I was beach toys, and my brother thought that I was tractors. But when they found out that it was a baby brother, me, they definitely realized that it was not the things that they wanted. I don't know why they were really thinking about this, but sometimes I just wonder this. Why did my sister think I was beach toys and my brother think that I was a tractor? Okay, now I remember this because my mom told me. Like when I was 2 years old, my mom would sometimes say my name, and like she would say Ben, 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 and then after that I wouldn't respond back, and then she asked me, Ben, did you hear me? And I went yeah. My mom even took me to Kale Hill so I could learn the crawl. Well, it turns out I've actually did pretty good. My mom said that it was pretty easy when I was crawling, like very easy. Like it wasn't even that hard for me to learn about it at all. Okay, now this is gonna be a surprise you guys have probably never heard of. But when I was very little, and I remember this, my siblings shook me up and there was a stairway cliff. And they accidentally dropped me down the stairs. And I know, that's pretty surprising. I just fell off and then I was just flying down the stairs and then I dropped down and my mom was dead on surprise. And just to say, I did not die at all. And no, I did not have a concussion after this, but yeah. I also remember that when I was little, I always used to draw circles and stuff like that and train tracks on the walls. And my mom let me do it, but whenever my older brother would do it, she would yell at him, but not me at all. And that was kind of funny. Like ever since when I was a little kid, I was obsessed with chains. I would watch Thomas all the time, and I loved to watch Thomas. I don't know why, but I just loved to watch Thomas. I used to watch Thomas all the time. I would love to watch trains all the time. My mom even told me that when I was a baby, I used to always eat cake on the floor from my sister's wedding. Well, I was a baby and I didn't really know a lot of stuff. Like I always ate cake off the floor. Like I loved cake. Okay, now this is the thing. I'm the youngest one, and I have three brothers, and I have two sisters, and I have three other sisters that live at a state. I have five sisters in all, and they're my other sisters. Yeah, I'm pretty much a big family. And when I was little, my brother told me that one time he set up a lemonade stand, and he tried to sell me. Yep, he tried to sell me, but it turns out that didn't work. I don't even know how much he tried to sell me for, but that didn't even work at all. It completely did not work. I remembered every time when I would go to Hilltop, I met this friend, and his name was Daniel. Now, we were really close. Like, his mom took care of me, and he did too when I was very little. We always had so much fun up at Hilltop, and it was like the best times I've ever had. Like we were best friends up at Hilltop. We've been best friends for a really long time. I even also remember that me and Daniel would always used to watch VeggieTales every time before we would go to Hilltop. He would come into my house and our mom would tell him VeggieTales. VeggieTales was literally the best show I've ever watched when I was a kid. I even also remembered I used to have to wear glasses because I had a lazy eye up at Hilltop. And sometimes I would take my glasses off and then I would see something blurry. But then I didn't have to wear glasses anymore at all. I even remember seeing our old family pictures that we took years ago and with just me and my siblings. You see, when I was like little, I didn't really smile that much, or sometimes I would. But then today, my mom said I had the most cutest smile ever when I was a little kid. I also remember when I was little, one of my mom's friends, Susan, was showing me this like peanut butter thing. And then when I saw the Reese's, I fell in love with Reese's. Reese's like my all-time favorite candy, and they said I love peanut butter, and that is a fact. I do love peanut butter. Another surprising is that I was rushed to the hospital because I had an earwig crawl into my ear, which was a good thing it did not eat my brains. And I did not notice until when my mom told me. And now I'm kind of scared of having one crawling into my ear to this day. When I was in kindergarten, I went to Minerva Christian Schools as the first school that I ever went to. Our mom went to have drivers over and I was still in Melbourne. I was in a school play, but I don't really remember it because it was pre-K and I was very, very little. And it's kind of hard to remember this. And then after that, for my first grade, that's when I came to Brown local schools for the first time ever. It was in 2012. Now, when I first came to the Brown local schools, I was shaking in fear. Like, I went to my mom and I immediately hugged her because I was so scared. And then after that, I went to school. Now, the thing was, I was so confused what to do. Like, some of the kids would ask questions, and I had no idea what to do at all. Like, I was so lost, and I did not know what to do at all in school. But then I figured out myself after a little while. Okay, now, another thing you guys don't know about me is that I have ASD, which is Autism Spectrum Disorder. Now, when I was younger, I would sometimes like rock back and forth, or sometimes I'll make some movements and weird noises. I do make the movements today, but my friends would like do the same thing I did, but we did not know what autism was, so we just like let it all go and just completely all ignored it. Now, 2 years later, or 2 grades later, I went to a room called Room 123, which was a special ed room. And I've been there, I was in there for like to the 3rd grade all the way to the 5th grade. And I had some fun memories in there, in that classroom. I even remembered when I ended the 5th grade, I was bawling in the tears. I had no idea why I was crying, but it was just sad for me. Like, there was going to be no more elementary school for me. And then after that, I went to the 6th grade. And that was when I went into the room, Spencer's class. Now, I was shy and scared of going in there for the first time because I was new, but I still went along in there anyways. Another thing is that I remember when I was in 6th grade, I was always dreaming to be popular and famous, like the kids in the movies and shows. Like, my favorite book was Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which was kind of like my story life about a kid who wants to be famous, but he's in school. Like, my dream is to be famous in school. I'm not famous now, and not everyone knew what I was. And then there was 6th grade camp, and that was so fun. And then in the 7th grade, I started to get a lot of friends, but they were mostly girls, and then we became best friends pretty much. Yeah, and that was pretty surprising of me when that happened in the 7th grade. In the 7th grade, that's when I even started to journal a lot about my life. Like, I remembered when I was at the library, I was just playing on the computer, and I think I was like watching YouTube, or maybe I was playing a game. And then I see I see one of my friends sitting like across from me. And then as soon as when they like completely got up when they walked past me, she would say something and then I would look and then she would say something like, "Hi, best friend," and then after that she would go to her other friend. And after a little while, one of my best friends kind of made me had a crush on her as a girlfriend. But at the football game, my two best friends hugged me. And that was completely unexpected. And then later on in the game, I hugged them again. And then one of them asked me, "Do you like her?" And I was really, really confused. Like, I was speechless. I didn't say nothing. And then after a little while, I started to have a crush on Emma, which I had a huge crush on her when I was in 7th grade. Like, I had a crush on my best friend completely. And then there was another girl that became my best friend. Her name was Maya. She was really, really nice. And then after that, I started to like both of them as my crush, which was pretty much unexpected. Now, when Valentine's Day came along, I had an idea. I got in a box of chocolate from youth group, and then I decided to sneak it into a locker. After a little while, she completely found out I did it, and then she said thank you for doing that to her. And the saddest thing was, like on the last day of school, she was crying because she moved schools, and it was sad because she was like my best friend. So after that, I said she was a good friend, and then I hugged her and I told her goodbye, and that was the saddest thing that happened to me ever in seventh grade. And then about a couple weeks later, I saw her again, and we did a handshake again because we were never going to see each other again. If you ever watched the movie Trolls, that's where I got my one handshake from, and it was the best handshake I've ever had. Now, on to my freshman year, I did the first sport I've ever done, and that is cross country. Now, cross country was not an easy sport. It was kind of hard. I kind of hated it at first, but I still did it though and pretty much enjoyed it. And then after cross country was over, I decided to be ball boy for basketball. And that was amazing. And I did indoor track kind of while along that too. And that was like my first time ever doing that. After when basketball season was over, when we lost against Highland that one year, it was sad. And then after a little while, we had no school all because of that COVID-19 pandemic. And that still hits different to this day. We went 2 weeks to the rest of the year with no school, and that's how I ended my freshman year. Now, we are on to my 10th grade year. And this was literally the worst grade I've ever had in school. It's not because we had to wear a mask at all time in school after the COVID-19 pandemic, but this is kind of a long story why this was the worst school grade I've ever had. Okay, so I came back to cross country, so I didn't give up. So there was this new girl. Her name was Emma Debo. She became my best friend, and she was so nice and generous. And she had a huge crush on my other best friend, Landon. So they started to like each other, and then after that, I became the third wheel. I was like left out completely, and I was isolated from my best friend. And then my other friend got a girlfriend, and he was excited for him to get a girl, and I got dogged on because I was single. And then a little bit after that, I became jealous that my two friends had a girlfriend and I didn't. Like, I wanted one, but I liked this one girl, but she wasn't good because my best friend kept calling us one word I'm not going to explain. But anyways, so after that, they broke up. So I decided to go back and try to get my best friend, but he was talking to a girl. So I decided just to turn around and not go after him at all. Another sad thing, when I was 16 to 17, I was always depressed. Like, I got depressed like every night. Like, I used to have to sleep downstairs on the couch, and I always got anxious because I've seen these scary TikToks, and I feel like I was not safe in my house. Well, and when I was dealing with all of that, I wanted to end my life. And then I was all like, I can't do this anymore. So I had to go to counseling so that I can get rid of those thoughts in my head with all my problems and all that stuff like that. So, yeah. And then after a little while, now this kid used to be new, but he wasn't anymore. I met my friend named Dalton. Now, he was always silly and funny sometimes. So, I was at the Dairy Queen business and I was talking to him one time that maybe we should make a movie together. And so I explained to him about it and he said, sure. So, we got into the works of the movie. And then after 1 month, the Ben Moser movie came out first ever on YouTube. It became so popular, got a lot of views. And that movie honestly made me got rid of my depression, sadness, and anger every time, and life was good. And then we made the Ben Moser movie 2, and then the Ben Moser movie 3, and then the Ben Moser movie 4. But honestly, the fourth one and the third one were not that good. And I know, that's very surprising. Pretty much after the Ben Moser movie 4, I kind of made 2 new episodes of the Ben Moser show. And then I quit recording because it got too cold and too windy, and then sports came along. And then senior year came along, and I went to Strasbourg for a basketball game. Now, something surprising really happened. I was just in the concession stand line, minding my own business, and then I thought I felt a poke. And I thought I was just feeling something, but it turns out I must have thought that I was just thinking that someone just tapped me. And then I turned around, and it turns out somebody did tap my shoulder. And then there was this girl, her name was Addison, and then there was Katie, and then there was others that I cannot remember the names of. Now, I was kind of confused what was happening. So, Katie played Pancake with me, and so I kept on typing in my phone what was happening, and then there was these girls looking on my phone. And sometimes when I would turn around, they'd go back, no. And then they'd be like, what are you typing? I'm like, I'm not telling you what I typed. So, when I was playing Patty Cake with Katie, I pretty much sucked at it. She even said that I sucked at it too. And I did. But that's okay. Yeah, I was really, really confused what was happening. But then after a little while, I was surprised too because I started to meet new friends from another school, which has happened to me before, but not like this before. So after that, Addison invited me over to Strasbourg student section to sit with him. I was like, yeah, sure. And I was nervous because this has never happened to me. So she introduces me to one of her friends, and then almost all of her friends knew me. I had to change the paper because my dry erase marker was running out. So pretty much when I went to the student section, there was people that started to know me, but I couldn't really remember their names. Their names were kind of hard to remember. But I had fun pretty much. It was great. Like there was this one person that even knew me. I've gotten like Snapchat accounts from them and stuff like that. It was so fun. That was like the best night I've ever had. And that was like, it was even pretty much like unexpected too. Like I did not know it was going to happen. Like almost everyone in Strasbourg is literally going to know me. Then after that, at the end of the game, one of the girls said, I heard him say, "Ooh, there's Ben." And then I came over, and one of them asked me if I liked that girl and I invited me over. I was confused, and I did not know what to say because I've never met these girls in my life. It was so weird. I was really, really confused. So I just kind of sort of speechless. I was like, what the heck is happening? After basketball was over, I was going to not do any more sports. But then I decided to do baseball. Something new that I did, and I've never done baseball. Now, honestly, it was fun. Baseball practice and all that stuff was just fun. Like, even though the ball would go, like, over, or sometimes it would go right in front of me, I would still catch and go over. But the best thing I always did was just have fun. The only thing that I remember for, like, senior night is that when I was up the bat, and as soon as when I swing the ball, it landed on the ground, and then coach told me to run, so I just sprint, I ran, and then I got out. I was hoping to get a hit, but I got a run instead. God must have probably just gave me a run instead of a hit, but I still had fun pretty much. I even forgot to draw and mention that when I went to East Cannon, I met a lot of more friends, but my best friends are mostly girls. I was the only boy in the group, but I forgot to draw. Anyways, and for the class of 2023, we had practice a few times, and then we walked through the hallways one last time, and that day hit different so much. And then I kind of got sad because I was going to miss all the fun times I was have in school, and life is just going to hit on different. So, pretty much in my 6th grade, I was not popular, and everyone knew who I was, and then I became the most popular, lovable person in town. And all this is different. This is the end. This is pretty much the end of the video. Anyone in Malvern, Strasbourg, and East Cannon that are listening to this, thank you for making me, loving me for who I am, and wishing me for the best wishes, even though that I'm graduated. And this is the end of the Draw My Life video. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.